Hello, welcome to the channel. My name is Dr. Corey Wren. I am a vegan sociologist, a vegan feminist, and a vegan witch. And in this video, we're talking cake. Simple, sweet, and an important way that we can veganize our witchcraft to be more inclusive, to be more environmentally friendly, and of course, to be more kind to the animals. So I have two audiences with this channel. One, I have the vegan folks who maybe are new to witchcraft, don't know anything about witchcraft. Then I have people who are old school witches who maybe are new to veganism, don't know much about veganism. And my aim is to kind of bridge these things together because I think that there is something to be gained by both communities. So I'm going to start with a little bit of background on veganism. So veganism is a philosophy and practice, a political theory, and also to an extent a diet that respects non-human animals as persons, that resists climate change, also seeks to decolonize diets, especially diets of the global majority. And one of the things that we do in practicing veganism is trying to move away as much as practically possible from animal products. So that includes milk, dairy of any kind, eggs, butter, whey, in addition to animals' flesh, like their muscles and wings and things like that. So for people who are vegan, then it's a little bit more complex, if you will, insofar as resisting mainstream Western diets. And that doesn't mean that it's any more difficult per se, as long as you have decent food accessibility. It doesn't necessarily have to be any more expensive. Actually, a recent Oxford study found that globally, on average, the vegan diet is about a third cheaper. So anyway, just a little bit of background on veganism if you're new to that. Today I'm talking cake. Cake is one of those things that you think, oh, vegans can't have cake, and vegans, what a miserable life we live, can't have cake. Actually, cake is one of those more accessible things to veganize. And when I first went vegan 25 years ago, you couldn't just go buy vegan cake. You had to make it yourself. And really, the non-vegan ingredients in cake tend to be milk and eggs. Well, milk and eggs are not just there to add moisture to the cake, but they're there to act as binders. So they're not really adding flavor to the cake, which is key here. They're simply there to do the building work. It's a chemistry type of experiment here. So that means that they can easily be replaced by something else that is plant-based and not based on cruelty and harming the environment. So if you're interested in making your own cake from scratch, which is super easy to do, it's really just like flour, water, a little bit of baking soda and apple cider vinegar, which creates the fizz, which makes it expand, sugar. I think that's the main things. You can easily find variations of that kind of recipe online. Sometimes people add in applesauce. I'm living in the UK, even though apples are a major part of British culture. Applesauce is not. They use apples for cider instead of applesauce. So if I want applesauce, I have to make it myself. So I tend to not use applesauce in recipes here in the UK. When in the US, I always kept applesauce on hand in my refrigerator because it was such a staple for vegan baking. Alternatively, I've known people have used avocado as a fat and a binder, and there's also people who have tried mashed banana does a similar type of thing. But anyway, you can find these recipes online. I'm just giving you an idea of how easy and accessible it is to veganize a cake recipe. But perhaps you're living somewhere like I am. I'm in the UK now, and I don't have to bake my own vegan cake anymore. Sometimes I do because I like to bake, and sometimes I like to make my own variations. And there are lots of vegan cake cookbooks out there with lots of exciting types of cakes. But sometimes you just want something easy. And so I'm very blessed that I live, there's an all vegan restaurant on my street and they do vegan cupcakes. There's several coffee shops in town that also do vegan cakes and things like that. And almost all of the major grocery stores here in Canterbury where I live does vegan cake. So the point here is that cake is actually extremely accessible. It's a major part of vegan culture, incidentally, because it was, as I indicated, it's one of the things that actually is very easily accessible, easy to veganize as a new vegan, way back when you couldn't buy your own vegan cake. And so in the early 2000s, it was actually a major part of vegan activism to make your own vegan cupcakes. It was a whole cupcake craze. And I have a video on that on my author channel if you're interested in watching it. I'll put a link below. But basically, these cupcakes sort of took on a cultural resonance in the vegan community as something that was decadent. It represented something that was approachable, DIY. You could use it for activism. Say, conversation for a cupcake. Let's talk animal rights while you eat this delicious vegan cupcake. But yeah, it's also indulgence, because so much of veganism is a focus on the negative, all the animal cruelty and suffering and exploitation and the dying planet. Sometimes it's nice to focus on the positive, and cake is a positive. So if you're a witch who's not vegan and you're wondering why I'm talking so much about cake, like, just to give you an idea, cake has a major cultural sort of role in the vegan community that goes back like 25 years. Now, if you are vegan and you want to get more involved in witchcraft, now this part is for you. In witchcraft, there is a focus on ritual. There's also a focus on culture, just like with cake bit. But in witchcraft, it's a major focus on ritual. So one of the things that's done in rituals is a sort of opening ceremony where you draw a circle, you cast a circle, and then you call on the elements, you call on the goddess or god, whatever your practice is like. You do your ritual work, you cast your spell, or there's all kinds of things people do in rituals. But oftentimes when you finish the ritual, there's a grounding exercise that happens with a celebration with wine and cake. Not always with wine, sometimes there's an adaptation there. It's because some people have addictions and just don't want to drink alcohol. There's an Asian American lady who came to one of my events, my Bieltana event this year, and she couldn't drink alcohol because of her Asian heritage. So alcohol is there's a lot more flexibility. And I talk about this in my book, Vegan Witchcraft, by the way. There's a lot of flexibility when it comes to alcohol. But for some reason with cake, it's not really talked about. It's because there's such a focus on deprivation and negativity and denying the body in mainstream patriarchal religions that witchcraft is trying to do the opposite and actually embrace pleasure seeking and feeling good. So cake tends to be at the end of a lot of rituals as a point of celebration, and it's also a major way to ground. It's kind of like when vegan protests, at the end of the protests, they'll do potlucks to kind of ground the community and get everybody feeling comfortable again. It's grounding the energy. So what I'm proposing in this video is, if we want to merge the world of veganism and witchcraft, and if you want to know more reasons why I think that's a good project, a good thing to do, I have another video on introductions to vegan witchcraft. But anyway, I think bringing vegan cake as sort of baseline when you're doing these events would be more inclusive. It's also helping us to walk the talk when we are claiming as witches to see non-human animals as persons and to care about them. Well, we shouldn't be eating them, and we shouldn't be taking their breast milk that's meant for their babies. And the dairy industry is responsible for a whole lot of suffering and death. All the dairy cows suffer and die prematurely or sent to slaughter, and the babies as well. So we can start moving away from breast milk and eggs in our cake and start having a vegan cake at our rituals and events. And I think that would actually be a more inclusive and more authentic way of practicing witchcraft. And like I said, it's easily accessible nowadays, and there's probably no reason we would need to bring in non-vegan cakes, because it tastes the same. Honestly, it tastes the same. The milk and eggs are not adding extra flavor. It's just a way to bind things. So this is just one practical way that I think we could bring the two worlds together, and a practical way to make our ritual more inclusive. And maybe for the vegans who are watching this and not thinking about how to do witchcraft rituals, maybe you can be thinking then about, well, what can we pull from witchcraft as far as bringing in that pleasure seeking to ground energy after a major ritual. So when vegans come together to do a campaign, to do a protest, to do a march, maybe we can draw on the strengths of witchcraft there and say, well, at the end of it, we'll do a communal meal. We'll do a lot of good, healthy, but also tasty food at the end to make people feel, the community to feel secure, supported, and grounded. If you like this video, please do subscribe, please do like, because that helps the algorithm to push the video further. And I have lots of links below. If you'd like to learn more about the more advanced stuff with vegan witchcraft, I have a Patreon account, and there's quite a few videos on there that are free to view. Thank you very much, and I hope you keep it witchy and vegan.